So I was just thinking about how in court, right, they always be like, in God we trust, right? That's what I just thought about. And then I started thinking about how spiritual law is broken still, even with saying that, in God we trust. And maybe it's not always said, but it's written. Like a lot of times, if you go to court, you'll see it says somewhere in the courthouse, "In God we trust." Now I just heard, first of all, which God are you talking about? Which one is that? Okay? Which God do you deem to be aligned with you? And the proof lies in your actions and your beliefs and the words you speak. Okay. Now, I'm just thinking about spiritual law this morning. Spiritual law. Now, I have them in front of me. So, let's talk about them. Let's talk about them. Law of divine oneness. This law emphasizes the interconnectedness of all things in the universe, suggesting that everything is part of a unified whole. And yet, this law is broken. So the worldly laws are flawed, and then you suffer consequences and repercussions when you don't follow them, even though they're flawed. And then when you counter them, you can get in trouble, can't you? Don't they try to get you? Yeah, they do. But when you break spiritual law, here in this realm, it doesn't hold as much weight as the law that the government establishes for all to abide by. So I think I'm just going to talk about this spiritual law in this video. I think I'm just going to focus on one. I was going to talk about multiple, but Spirit is leading me to talk about just this one for this video. Spiritual laws of the universe. I'm going to read it one more time. Law of divine oneness. We are all one. You, me, the trees, the birds, and the bees. We all one, okay? Law of divine oneness. This law emphasizes the interconnectedness of all things in the universe, suggesting that everything is part of a unified whole. Now, what is the best way to demolish that law, that spiritual law? If you were to say or think of any way to break that law, what do you think should be done? I just want you to think about that. And then ask yourself the answer that you've just given to this question about how to break the law of divine oneness. Is it happening right now in the world? Do you see that happening? Even in your home, do you see it happening? If you just chop it down some and go micro in your home and in your community, do you see the law of divine oneness being adhered to, or no? Is it yes or is it no? Many of you are going to be like, no, I don't see no oneness. I don't see no oneness. So what do you see? Separation? Division? That's a lot of math, right? A lot of equations. A lot of equations. Equations are order. If you go out of order for any of the equations, then the answer will be wrong. And I'm just saying that, in an abstract way. Hold on, let me bring it back. Equations. Look at equations as groups of people. When something is not followed exactly how it should be, it will be wrong. So that means that it's not righteous. It won't be right. Wrong is wrong and right is righteous. Right? Yeah. So if there are ways that one can infuse into your livelihood, or you're being subjected to a certain influence that can infiltrate oneness within your community or within your home, then that would cause division. So then the equation that was established for unification and multiplication begins to transform into subtraction and division. And now to me that looks like the higher frequency that once was begins to, I was going to say descend, but I also want to say gets broken down, becomes divided and weak. The vibration, when it's higher, it's like a multiplied frequency of righteousness. But then when it's divided and broken down, it becomes a division of, how can I say it? A division of an equation, a division of a people that causes weakness, which makes you prone to attacks. And it's easy for you to be targeted. Imagine being in an open field and you're the only one in it. You're an easy target. But if there's like a lot of people around and a lot of trees and bees and foliage, you're not so easy to target. I'm thinking something, but I'm trying to catch what I'm thinking. That bird sounds like something from the rainforest. I don't know what kind of bird that is. You hear that? Sounds like a bird from the rainforest. That doesn't sound... That bird is not usually here. That's a different bird. Any bird watchers watching me? Hey, I'm not a bird. I have a bird on my chest, though. It means something to me. It has meaning, though. But anyway, back to these messages. Get distracted. The law of divine oneness has been strategically broken down and divided. The more division, the more control. The opposing, I'm hearing opposing counsel, can have against you. Being led to believe that that you should be in the mindset of every man fend for themselves is a broken way of thinking. It weakens your ability to supersede and overcome. Okay? So don't be tricked into thinking that you are not meant to unify with your brothers and sisters on earth. And I'm hearing, how do I know who's my brother and my sister if they're not like actually in my bloodline? If they're aligned with your values and morals and ethics and what you believe to be right and what you believe to be broken. Many things they were once whole, and then over time they become broken. And then the pieces are broken. The pieces that are broken become broken, and so on and so forth. It just keeps on being divided more and more. That's like, like now, like there's news that I never saw when I was like younger. I didn't see certain things. When I hear about the elderly getting abused or ran up on and hurt and all this stuff, I understand that some people do it for survival. But just thinking about how I don't remember hearing stuff like that when I was younger. But this is what the world has come through, because it's like due to that division of, due to the division that has caused scarcity, now it's like that, because it's like survival. You do anything. Once you get to that point where you would do anything to survive, you do anything to survive. And I feel like many don't really know what that's like. So they'll be quick to judge instead of evaluate and ask questions. But when you know what it's like to realize that you have trouble feeding your family or yourself, or there's some type of threat due to the lack in one's life, one will do things that they really don't want to do, but they feel as though they don't have any other choice because there's no opportunity for them to have another option. So it leaves you backed up into a corner with a bunch of weapons in your face of what you lack. It's like, so what do I do now? My back is up against a wall and I don't see an exit. I don't see a way to get out of this. See, but if you have oneness and you are unified with a group that is in alignment with your belief system and with what you believe is right, you wouldn't feel like you're in lack, because you would have someone that's there to pick you up. It doesn't always have to be financially. It could also be energetically. Sometimes people can have everything they need materialistically and financially, but then they don't have who they need emotionally. And I mean, that's worth more than the material and the money, because if you are emotionally shot and you're bleeding out, then that calls for, or that could be deemed to be, or can be deemed to be an emergency. Just because, yeah, you have it all in that area, but to not have everything in order emotionally can make everything around you fall. So everything you feel as though you have could be gone so much quicker if you don't have emotional alignment, or emotional divine alignment. I've never heard it said like that before, but Spirit just said emotional divine alignment. So look how, laws are created for people to follow in order for them to live their best life, literally. Like their best life is the most pure, I want to call it the best life. The life that can truly bring joy and happiness, understanding, growth. It's a life that allows you to elevate and ascend beyond your circumstances and your environment. Because even with the law of divine oneness, even if you start out in an environment that's not the greatest, if you have the mindset of the law, or if you walk with the mindset incorporating the law of divine oneness, that's creating opportunity. That creates opportunity when there's oneness, because you're open to improvement and you're not at the point where you just feel like you're not interested in being unified with anyone. That's a trick, to think that you could do it by yourself. It's a trick. Even though a lot of us do it, and sometimes we have to do it just because of the circumstances at that time. But the real trick is to continue to hold on to that idea when unification is beneficial, not to just you, but to spiritual law. Like to the laws of the universe is beneficial to the universe. Because when you unite with individuals that are on a high frequency as you are, it elevates the frequency of the world, essentially. depending on how many equations of groups of people begin to raise their frequency. Spirit just keeps saying that groups of people are equations. So like, it's like a, what is it called? Sacred geometry. It's like Spirit is talking about sacred geometry. Mind you, honestly, I'm not great at math, but somehow I think mathematically. I said mathematically. I think mathematically at times. And I don't want to say I'm not good at math. It's just that I like letters. I like words. I gravitate to words more than numbers. However, if I have the formula and I remember the formula, I can solve the problem. I think that I felt that I wasn't the greatest at math because now it's making me wonder. I don't know why I'm going here, but I feel like I need to go. I think it has a lot to do with me having trouble finding a way to relate the formula to something that I do understand. However, when I express it in such a way with words, it's easier for me. And it makes more sense to me with words. Because there's an order of operation in each equation. Like, I understand that. But then when I see the equation in real math now, I could mix up the order of operation and the answer will be wrong. But what helps me is if I see the order of operation right in front of me, and then I can follow it. That's rules. That's guidance. That is order. That's methodical, because that's what it is. It's methodical. It's a methodology. And it's the same thing that is the same idea and the concept that I'm correlating the law of divine oneness with groups of people all around the world. So if a few, what do I want to call it? I don't know what to call it. If a few infiltrations that oppose the law of divine oneness in a group are thrown into the group's equation, it will cause the result of the method to be incorrect. So the result, you won't see the result as it should be, as it was ordered to be, because there's order. The order is like the main point here. If there's no order, there's chaos. So the infiltrations cause chaos. It causes confusion. And this is what needs to be ordered. This is what needs to be planned out, it's the order that's missing. The order in the groups. They're supposed to go by a certain equation, a certain order of operation, but there's too many monkey wrenches being thrown in. Infiltrations, like the infiltrations are caused from vulnerability, and then there's like these conceptual attacks that are then infused into the order, causing what was once ordered to be out of order. So in your own family, name a few things that you know have caused your family to be out of order based off of a false narrative. And then go outwardly a little more and think about the community. If you find that there's anything in your community that's out of order, what would you say that is? What is that's causing your community to be out of order? When you look with your own eyes and your own consciousness, not from looking it up, but just what you see. What do you see that's wrong? So in your family, what's wrong? And then keep on digging into why is it wrong. Okay. And where do you think it came from? Where do you think that the infiltration came from? Where did the root of the problem derive from? And that's the key to reestablish and reconstruct the law of divine oneness. Because these universal laws were established to help you stay on track so that you could live a life of grace that you were made to live. But you have to choose to align yourself to such laws. If you choose not to align with them, then expect chaos. Because that's anything that is not ordered is going to be chaotic, because everybody's going to be talking about something else. It's going to be like a bunch of people having a bunch of conversations, but nobody's talking to each other and nobody's on the same accord. So everybody's going to be talking about something totally different. You can't get anything done. Like, imagine a team with everybody having something else in their mind, like a different version of the same plan in their mind. Nothing will actually get done. Nothing will happen. It's just going to be a lot of chat. A lot of chatting. Just chat. Kind of like being in a busy place, like a concert or like a cafeteria or in some type of auditorium, or even like, I don't know, the bus or the train. And if you close your eyes and just listen, it's like this murmur. You hear a bunch of different conversations, and it's like, that's what it starts to sound like. You can't make out anything that anybody is saying, but altogether it sounds like gibberish of noise. And that's what it sounds like. So if your group is like that, and everybody talking about something totally different, but y'all supposed to be talking about the same thing, nothing's ever going to get done. That is the division. That's what every man fends for himself does. That's what the idea that you could do it all by yourself does. It leaves you vulnerable, and it leaves you open to attack. Wow. Do you want to be attacked? So then that means you can't do it like that. If you don't want to be attacked, don't do it like that. All right. Yeah. Okay. All right, I think that's it for this one. This is just number one. The law of divine oneness, okay? Yeah. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you know. And tell me what you think should be. And then act accordingly. Okay, honey? Yes, like that.